Shazam! You know, we had to do it. Let's talk about it. What's up, fellow phantoms? Today we're talking about Shazam. So if you don't know what the character is, more or less, I'm going to break it down just a little bit for you. So essentially, Shazam is a character that has a little bit of a convoluted backstory, both in real life and in its comic book backstory. So essentially, the story behind Shazam is it's a 14-year-old boy named Billy Batson who's given the powers of the Greek gods from a wizard, essentially, and when he says the word Shazam, he turns into this giant Superman-esque looking character. And he's a little overpowered as well when it comes to his superpowers, kind of like Superman. He can throw lightning, he can fly, he's super strong. And yeah, he's a kid in a man's body, but with the powers of like Zeus and Hercules and blah blah blah. So now that you know the basic premise of the comic book character, let's get into the movie character. So the story follows Billy Batson, a foster child that essentially was abandoned or got lost as a child, and he's trying to find his mom throughout, or at least resistant to foster homes, therefore running away from other foster homes and not really wanting to belong because he feels like his mom is out there looking for him. Essentially, he's run away from so many foster homes that he ends up at another foster home with many other children, but the two foster parents once were foster children as well. So it's a super loving household. It makes you feel like you're part of a family, or they're trying to build a family, like a home. The main one that tries to become friends with Billy Batson is Freddie Freeman, which is also the character that was portrayed in It. The younger one, the younger wisecracking one that was like scared of everything. He's also in this movie. Obviously he's older at this point, but he does very good. He's very funny. Essentially, after Billy Batson gets at this home, shortly after, he is given the superpowers from this wizard, and it works very well. Zachary Levi plays the Shazam character, the superhero version of Billy Batson, and this innocence to him is very genuine. He has an innocence to him that you don't like. It's seamlessly between a 14-year-old boy and this man. You don't see two different characters, or you don't see Zachary Levi trying to portray a boy. You just see, oh, that's the same character, and he does a very good job at portraying a 14-year-old boy trying to find out what his powers are. But yeah, as I said, Freddie Freeman, who's very into superheroes, and you'll see there's many references to Batman and Superman, so it is in the same universe. He knows basically everything there is to know about superheroes, so he helps Billy Batson find out what his character are, and it's an interesting take on the origin story as a whole. But again, it is an origin story, so it does follow the same formula that other origin stories follow as well. So it does get a bit repetitive, but the way that they do it, kind of like the Handycam budget, like they're gonna put up a piece of paper that has the titles of what's going on. They're testing the flight, bullet vulnerability. There's a lot of comedy in this movie. So I'm going to take this straight up from the beginning, just in case you were wondering. I will give my final grade at the end. But essentially, if you would have asked me halfway through this movie what I thought about it, I would say it's okay. It's pretty decent, especially with the comedy. It is heavily comedy based with a lot of action as well, which is what you want to see in a comic book movie. Essentially, when you know the backstory to it, it is a little ridiculous when you think about it. But if you would have asked me halfway through the movie, I would have been like, that's okay. But the second half puts this as basically, in my opinion, the best DC movie that's out there, at least in the modern films of DC coming out now. It's still an origin story, and you're still waiting for him to be like, I know my powers, let's face the bad guys, let's do it. And that's why maybe the first half of the movie is a little weak. The second half, the last 45 minutes of this movie are pretty amazing. The main villain is portrayed by Mark Strong, who plays Thaddeus Savannah, I believe, and essentially he was also given the chance to be Shazam, or the chance of the chosen one to get the powers from the wizard as a kid. He didn't get them because he was tempted by the 7 deadly sins, which are also kind of like the bad guys in this movie. And he essentially holds a grudge from when he's a kid to now, and he's an okay bad guy. But I mean, I guess it's kind of hard to portray a bad guy of that caliber. You either have the people high above, like the Joker, or you have all these other Marvel villains, DC villains, which aren't that compelling. But I digress. Mark Strong, as an actor, I'm sure he did the best with what he could, but the villain, being the first villain in this movie, it was kind of whatever. But yeah, Freddie Freeman and the kid version of Billy Batson, very good actors, very good at portraying their age, as well as, figuring out what a 14-year-old person would do with these powers and kind of figuring that out. There's a lot of comedy in this movie. It's very enjoyable. If the next Shazam movies are anything like the last 30 to 45 minutes of this movie, and I don't want to give too much away, but if that's what they are going forward, this is honestly the best DC movie like that there is. I mean, going on in the DCEU, Dark Knight aside, all that stuff aside, when it comes to essentially Superman on, this is the best DC movie. And they're kind of doing a soft reboot, if you can tell, with the DCEU. They're portraying independent movies that have Easter eggs of other stuff that's going on, but there's not a Nick Fury coming in and introducing all an interwoven movie universe. DC's found what it needs to do, it's found what it's good at. It's very exciting from a DC fan because basically all the DC movies have been sucking so far, and then once Wonder Woman came in, it started getting a lot better. Then Aquaman came out, and then now Shazam. So while the last half of this movie was amazing, the first half was okay. There was good moments sprinkled throughout, but all in all, I'm going to give this movie a B. It's a solid B. Take that with what you will. It's definitely, in my opinion, a must-watch, especially if you're going to be invested in the DC Universe movies that are inevitably going to be coming out over the years. In my opinion, very, very good movie. So, fellow Phantoms, what do you think? Did you see it? If you saw it, let me know what you thought below. If you disagree with me, agree with me. I will also have a Pet Sematary movie review coming out soon as well, seeing as both Shazam and Pet Sematary came out on the same day. But like I said, we have a lot of movie reviews coming out, so if you're not subscribed, please hit the subscribe button down below. Hit the bell so you know every time I'm coming out with new movie reviews. If you have any movies that are coming out soon that you want me to review, please hit this in the comments below, and I'll do my best to put those out there as well. But anyways, guys, I really appreciate you guys stopping by, and I hope to see you in the next video. So I'll see you guys later.